Hey, how's everyone doing? It's your boy Jeff. My co-host Zach he's already done his reaction to it, so I'm gonna do mine real quick. To the Undertaker versus Vader at WWF In Your House Canadian Stampede. In Your House, man. Low-key, I wouldn't mind current day WWE doing a concept like that whenever fans come back. I think it'd be pretty cool. Like, just do like In Your House and combine it with like the pay-per-view names you got now. I don't know, just a random thought. The last time we did Undertaker versus Vader, this was at the Royal Rumble 1997. Infamously our first kind of breakdown / reaction to some wrestling on the Undisputed podcast. So this ought to be interesting because me and Zach didn't rate the match the highest when we looked at the Royal Rumble. But the beauty of this is we can be a little bit more optimistic and hope that it's better. And spoiler, it is. But let's go ahead and react to it. Before the match, Paul Bearer is backstage with Vader, cutting a promo. The blackmailing that Paul Bearer was alluding to on the previous pay-per-view was Undertaker allegedly murdering his family, but his half-brother survived the fire, and it ends up being fake Diesel, Isaac, whatever his name used to be, Isaac Yankum, whatever. It ends up being Kane. That's the basis of the story right there. Paul Bearer basically says that Vader will beat Undertaker, and they ended up recapping their match from earlier in the year at Royal Rumble 1997. Thought that was cool to bring that back up. So we get to the ring now. Both guys have already made their entrance. Paul Bearer acting like a shrewd operator, telling the cameraman, back up, shut up, don't show me. And Taker, when the bell rings, just comes out of the gate hot with some punches and some kicks. Hits a big clothesline early and a leg drop. And then he hits old school, but he gets a 2 count. So out of the gates, we're already getting a faster paced matchup, which kind of surprising for these two, considering the Royal Rumble was more slow paced, kind of dragged on a little bit. Vader then takes down Taker. He quickly sits up, however, the Undertaker. Vader takes him down. He does his, Undertaker does his signature sit-up, and he hits his flying clothesline after Vader Irish whips him. Vader hits a shoulder tackle, but Taker ends up dumping Vader on the outside shortly thereafter. Vader counters an Irish whip attempt by the Undertaker and sends Taker into the steel steps outside the ring. Paul Bearer is then talking some smack to the Undertaker. He repeatedly calls him a murderer for the blackmailing that he put out there about Undertaker. Taker then hits a diving clothesline onto Vader from the top rope once they shortly make their way back into the ring. Taker then hits an uppercut, sending Vader to the outside of the ring. Taker is then stalking Paul Bearer. He's trying to track him down, get his hands on that little weasel, or that big weasel, I guess you could say. Vader then attacks Taker from behind, and I guess while the ref was or wasn't looking, I really couldn't tell, Paul Bearer ends up attacking Taker with his shoe. Then we get back into the ring. Vader hits a clothesline, and then he goes to the top rope, and he hits another flying clothesline off the top rope of his own, or from the second turnbuckle, I should say. And he gets a 2 count. Vader then hits a standing suplex, followed by a splash. He only gets a 2 count again. Taker then hits his flurries of strikes in the big uppercut while he's on his knees, but Vader regains his control with another clothesline as he was exploding out of the corner. Taker then goes for a chokeslam. Vader, classic 1997 WWF right here, hits a low blow. Ref doesn't do shit about it. Okay, Paul Bearer then distracts Vader, telling him, "You have the match won. Put it away. Take care of business." Yeah, you're distracting him. You're just giving your old client time to recover. Taker then goes for a tombstone piledriver. Vader tries to counter it into his own, but I think both guys just ended up slipping, so Taker just turned it into a pin attempt, which, I'm going to be honest, probably best case scenario in that situation, because I would have rather have them done that on the fly than try to go through with the move anyway. So that was actually a decent little recovery. Props to you guys. Taker then hits a choke slam on the Vader. Vader, I kid you not, kicked out at 2.9. The ref's hand basically slapped for 3, but Vader had already got his shoulder up. Very good false finish, especially for the live crowd. By the way, that crowd eating up the action. Taker then hits another choke slam. Vader kicks out again. So Taker's like, all right, goddamn, dude, you already kicked out of 2 on 2 separate choke slam attempts. I gotta go deeper into the well. I have to hit you with the tombstone pile driver. And that's what Undertaker does for the win. And guess what? No shenanigans after the match. So I don't know if it's because I'm just extremely optimistic about this match, or I don't know what it is, but I'm going to give this match a solid 3 out of 5. Now, I think the last one I gave it like a 2.25 out of 5, so this match was better. You know, obviously these two aren't going to put on your 5-star classic wrestling clinic, but it was much better paced, and that made me enjoy the match. Like, this is a match where if somebody was like, yo, you want to sit down and watch this again, I'd be like, sure, yeah, because it was a fun match. You know, it was fast-paced for both of these guys who kind of like to slow things down into the ring. I thought it was good pacing. The false finish with the first choke slam by Vader, or Taker hitting it onto Vader. You have all the shenanigans with Paul Bearer, advancing that little story and that blackmail or whatever. Vader, despite winning at Rumble 97, couldn't quite get it done here. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. I thought it was pretty solid. It was a good match. Let me know what you guys think, and you'll have to hear what Zach thinks about the match as we move on to our next match on the card, which will be the 10-man tag in the main event of In Your House Canadian Stampede.